Assalamu alaikum everyone. We are back with another lecture and I hope you remembered the previous lecture. As usual, I'm your course instructor Sania Gilani from the Department of English, University of Southern Punjab. And this is your course of Rise of the Novel, 18th and 19th century. Throughout this course, we will be studying different classic novels that are instrumental in pioneering storytelling in prose form as we know it today. In the previous lecture, we looked at the definition of the word novel. We also looked at the historical context of novel and briefly mentioned major writers of the 18th century. Today, we are going to continue our exploration of the novel, but this time we will place it more deeply in its social and intellectual world. Think about this. When you read a novel, you're not just reading words on a page, you're entering a world shaped by history, culture, and human curiosity. So let's unpack how the social changes of the 18th century gave birth to the modern novel and why it became such a powerful form of expression. The topic is 18th century novel, the society, the style, and the storytelling of the age. Imagine living in a time before novels, when the popular forms of storytelling were epic poems, romances with impossible heroes, or lyrical verses. Then imagine a new form of writing emerging that spoke directly to your own voice, your own experiences, and your own choices. That's what happened in the 18th century. And today we will explore how and why. A new age of readers was emerging in the 18th century. One of the most important reasons for the novel's rise was the growth of the reading public. Advances in printing books made affordable, and literacy, especially among the middle class, was increasing dramatically. Literature was no longer an elite pastime. Newspaper, magazine, and serials became part of daily life. Writers serialized novels in installments, building anticipation among readers, similar to how today's TV shows released episodically week by week do for us. Coffee houses became intellectual hubs where people met, read, and discussed ideas, including novels. Circulating libraries lent books to people who couldn't yet afford to buy them. This meant novels were shared, discussed, and debated, making them a social as well as literary phenomena. The socio-political climate of the 18th century was also in favor of the change. Beyond economic and printing culture, deeper philosophical changes pushed the novel forward. The Enlightenment was centered on ideas like reason, individual experience, and empirical observation. People began to question old authorities and turn to their own experiences as valid sources of knowledge. Novels, with their attention to individual lives and choices, perfectly reflected this change in worldview. The period also saw political transformation. Events like the Glorious Revolution of 1688 helped shape a common culture among individuals, not just for monarchs. It mattered in history. This shift towards valuing individual experience is reflected in novelist narratives in early storytelling. The Glorious Revolution was the dethroning of King James II in November 1688. The novelistic styles and themes. Let's talk about style. Early novels were groundbreaking because they turned away from formulaic tales of knights, instead focused on realism. Realism means that characters feel human. They have thoughts, emotions, struggles, and social context. In Daniel Defoe's Robinson Crusoe, readers feel the isolation, fear, and resourcefulness of a castaway, almost like reading someone's diary. In Samuel Richardson's Pamela, we experience the emotional fluctuation and moral reasoning of a young woman through her own letters. Henry Fielding's Tom Jones offers humor and satire. It pokes fun at social conventions and invites us to laugh at them. In contrast, Stern's Shandy doesn't tell a story but plays with how a story can be told, breaking tradition with a narrative that jumps around and talks directly to the reader. Now, expanding of the novel's reach, by the later part of the century, new genres appeared. Gothic novel mixed real emotions, depth with supernatural thrillers. Horace Walpole's The Castle of Otranto introduced spooky settings, ghosts, and dramatic suspense. By the 1790s, authors like Anne Radcliffe were dominating the genre. These subgenres show how flexible a novel had become. It could be realistic, moralistic, satirical, psychological, experimental, or even eerie. The novel as a form was expanding in every direction, exploring every corner of human experience. What makes the 18th century so special in the history of the novel? It wasn't just one factor, it was a combination of social changes, technological advancements, philosophical evolution, and cultural expansion. Together, these transformed the novel from a fledgling narrative experiment into a major literary form that gave voice to individuals and reshaped how stories are told. The novel didn't just tell stories, it reimagined what stories should be. And it invited readers to see themselves in literature, to question society, to feel emotions deeply, and to think critically. That's why the 18th century will always be remembered as the golden age of the novel. If we talk about some of the main themes that were explored in this era, it includes the most common was the reflection of individual struggles and experiences. Since the middle class was the main audience or the main demographic that were consuming the literature of this time period, they wanted to be reflected in the literature. As a result, most of the characters in the works written in this time period are common people, and their struggles included going to job, struggling in a society that did not accept them, and also the hypocrisy that was present in society if you had money and in case you had nothing. If we talk about one particular example, you can take the case study of Henry Fielding's Joseph Andrew. The protagonist is a poor boy who is very virtuous and honest about his emotions and his role in society, but people are continuously trying to push him towards evil deeds, towards immorality and indecency. And since he is poor, no one is in favor of him. Next important theme that was often explored in 18th century was the exploration of foreign lands. Since people now had the opportunity to move around in spaces, they were also exploring new lands. Robinson Crusoe is not just popular because of the protagonist. It's also popular because it gave people to imagine a different island, an island far, far different from their own. People were now intrigued. They could revisit new places without actually going there. The middle class consumed literature as a way of social interaction. So, obviously, many people wanted social prejudices and hypocrisies to be reflected in their works as well. Next theme that was quite common during this era was the elite versus the poor class, or you can say the upper class and the working class, how the two classes were clashing among themselves. Another theme that was commonly explored was also religion, because in 18th century people were struggling with their religious identity, Christian and Protestants and Catholics. This was a debate that was going on, and people were often also exploring what it meant to be truly immoral and what it meant to be a hypocrite in society. So, when it comes to the 18th century, yes, the era has a few problems of its own. But that's the thing. Nothing remains the same. Every literature is a reflection of the society of that time period. Yes, there are certain problematic elements of the 18th century, but 18th century gave popular, basically popularized the entire genre of novel. Today, it's very common to have first person accounts of your characters. But before this, this century, people did not actually have this much control in literature. Fiction was basically told in third person. It meant that people were detached from their characters. But with stories like Samuel Richardson's Pamela, people were reading first hand accounts of their characters. It made the characters human and realistic. In this way, the characters were not just fictitious, they could be felt and be relatable for the audience who were consuming them. That is all for today's lecture. In the next lecture, we are going to officially start with our topic, our first novel, that is Joseph Andrews by Henry Fielding. Till then, Allah Hafiz, and see you guys soon.